Okay, well, according to Zoom,
This meeting is being live streamed, and I had to say, got it.
that's why I said,
that's
according to
this
Zoom,
is
we're
lovely.
live.
Yes.
But according to YouTube, that's why I say it's such a
I can
delay.
guarantee you we're live on YouTube now. Hi, YouTube.
Really? Well, it's just now coming up on my other screen as showing live. Okay, well, awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Corona Rising. 3 times today when doing recordings, I tried to say Conscious Conversation Central. That's still in there, And I'm joined tonight by, actually, the Gal Pal Posse has arrived. Lizzie Rieger and Lisa Falemino-Rush in the house, my Gal Pal Posse from Conscious Conversation Central in the house tonight. And we have gathered because, man, I wish that Lisa and I could come out there, and because I honestly just now I saw the 3 of Cups, the card of celebration, flash in my head. That's really what this sort of feels like. And the hummies, I just saw another one show up there behind your head, BZ, have showed up to join and bless this little happening that we have going on the full moon. I did not say, but I'd like to, that today is Friday, March the 18th, 2022. It is the full moon in Virgo. I did some recordings about that. And wow, so we're here to talk about BZ's new adventure, new Earth adventure. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, new life, new everything.
I know, right? I'm so excited about this for you because, this is something that, I know that the 3 of us have chatted off and on about with you, for you, about you. Well, everybody, right? For a while, hey?
Yeah. Yeah.
I said on one of my lives when you went, and I think I might have even alluded to it in our live when we actually started when we did the conversation about the living life in HD.com, your new site. I kind of see, but this has been more recently. I was flashed this again, that scene in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, where the character, the devil character, steps off a cliff, but this tiny little cloud rises up to meet each foot as he takes a step. And that scene flashed in my head because that's a very trusting, knowing thing to do. And that's why I worded the way I did when I, put the invitation out for folks to come join us live, because that's what you're doing by doing what you've done. In my view, just because I've been privy to some of the conversations you've had with yourself about what you're doing, right?
Right.
This is a total stepping out and trusting you. It's a faith in you.
And being all of me.
Yes. I just want to take a moment, and like I said, it's like I feel like the 3 of Cups celebration, to like dance around and okay, well, it's the words honoring of your bravery for one thing, because what you do now is a very 3D, very brave thing you're doing. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this reminds me of, how when the sporting teams and whatnot win some kind of a cup and they say, now what are you going to do? Because we're celebrating this major accomplishment. And I feel like BZ has the cup right now. So excited. And the crowd is cheering. And we're wanting to know what comes next for BZ.
I think, and that's what I love about this is BZ would love to know what comes next for BZ too.
Oh, she already knows. Look, her heart has been building it and building it and building it. Now she's brave enough to stand up and march toward it bravely. And that's how this is done. So that's why I celebrate BZ and the cup, because she's filling her own cup
Yeah.
from within. And it is such a beautiful thing to behold. So thank you for sharing your journey and adventure with all of us, because it's
Yeah.
quite inspiring.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's cool. Yeah. The Camellia. There's two of them that have very close names. So I got to get the right. Camilla Blossom. Camille is the other one. Camille is the remote work, and Camilla Blossom is the more Earth School shamanic. Anyways, she asked me in one of the things that we have going on in the trainings that we're doing now as was a group text window, and it was more of a rhetorical question. She says, "Well, why haven't you quit yet?" And I looked at the question, and Smarmy, said because, and I said, "Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'll play with that." And then I started to answer. She said, "No, this, you're playing with it." I said, "Okay, well, I'm just sharing some of those things." And from then moment on, in a very clear, very demonstrable, strong, not the right word, but a strong communicated way, my soul said, "Yeah, why haven't you quit yet?" And I thought, well, apparently it's a damn good question. That I should apparently ask myself. So I did. And then Penny, I saw, whoa, hey, watch the head, man. Keep the beaks to yourself.
Look, they're proud. They can't help it.
That was quite spectacular, I might say.
Yeah. They've been doing that. I was hoping we'd get it on camera. Then Penny came the next night because I was in such excruciating pain. And that's when she said, they say you know what to do. And I'm like, can I have a hint? Just a little one.
As you're laying there with ice pick pains, or
Right.
was it not ice pick this time?
Oh no, it was all those and more. Apparently I had done I needed my patella put back in, and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, she said,
See,
if you haven't got the
gotta
memo
be honest
yet,
with you.
the job's killing you. So I was like, okay. Check. I got that now.
Being out of
Apart from
alignment
living
manifests
from
itself in a lot of different ways in my physical vessel, I've noticed. So yeah, I can see where that would actually
No, that's real.
absolutely manifest in that particular sort of way in order to get one's attention.
Oh, and that was also said in no uncertain terms. This is to see if you're paying attention and to get you to pay attention. And it will get louder, meaning if you think it's excruciating now, this is a piece of cake.
Well, I used to have this saying, and it went like this. This is the way my higher self plays with me. I get a whisper, and then I'll get a tap on the shoulder. And then if I still don't pay no attention and I don't start making some moves, I'll get a slap. And if that doesn't work, the 2x4 is next, because apparently I have chosen to do this. And so that's that kind of feels like what you're describing there.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way it has worked for me.
So I think I got a day or two later, I lit a bonfire, metaphorically, energetically, with my bushel, the basket that I had, and I torched that puppy and warmed my hands by it and said, let's go.
Don't need it anymore.
Well, that's awesome. And so I want to, I really would like to focus on what your desire is. I want to, oh yeah, I'm going to let that go. That's an interesting thing. I've not had that happen before. I was asked if I wanted to approve Journey Intuit's last comment. Journey Intuit is in the house, y'all. Crystal is here and she said, big things coming, go BZ. And she said, I'll get a kick in the ass for sure. And I think she's referring to what I just said about the two
Yeah.
by four. Yep. That really does happen. But I was wondering if you wanted to chat. So in that vein, because you are, to make it very clear to anyone who may not really know, because BZ, I've gotten a whole lot of new subscribers to my channel that I don't know if they're from Conscious Conversation Central, because honestly, I never utilized my email and let everybody know what happened. I just kind of, again, did it by magnetic draw. But I have had in the last, which was surprising to me because I really haven't had a lot of activity on my channel, but I have, gotten like, I don't know, about 100 new subscribers over that. So they may not be aware of any of us, or what we do, what we've done in the past and all that. So would you like to share? Because listen, you've got a whole brand new website. You've got some services that you're offering. You've got a whole new, well, it's a new earth thing that you are doing. And that is part of your stepping out. So do you want to take some time and kind of just share some about that? Because honestly, this is so huge for you and honestly, energetically, even for all of us.
Yeah. Well, I'm helping setting, he used Lisa's terminology, setting the templates for how do you do all of this. And not only, so I'm, well, maybe I'll get to that in a minute. I was going to say, I'm envisioning it, I'm doing it, I'm walking it, I'm learning how to walk, and I'm going, whoa, okay, navigating it. And I'm also creating it, at least a big section of it from my energetic things for all others to do it as well. And what's the it? The it is to have a new life. So there is the old construct that is unwinding and unbinding, and it's getting hyper accelerated now, complete with the letter, which is the third letter of the alphabet and the second letter of the alphabet. Third letter comes first and then the second letter, right? And capital letters, and that's a fiduciary structure. And you guys can figure out, if you don't know, you figure that out, but I'm not, because this one is a hot toddy word and I'm not.
No, I understand. That's right. And this is live on YouTube. So that's all we'll do on that.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that we're a nanosecond or less than a hair's breadth away from it going down. And it will do that from the controllers and orchestrators of it, because it is thought that the new mechanism that they have will slide right in, and that couldn't be further from the truth on any level, realm, or anything else. So anyways, that is the old structure, whether people know about it or worried about it or thinking about it or don't like it, it's going. Not next year, not now. And at the same moment, because nature doesn't, it abhors a vacuum, at the same moment, whole new life of everything, every system, every structure, every sector, everything. Not a single one left out. A completely new, not refurbished, not rehabbed, not, lipsticked on the pig sort of a thing will come forth. And so that means, again, think of any system, any structure, any sector, but also in your own life, in your relationships, in your geographic location. You may not actually move to a new town or city, but you will move. You will move to So you may be planning to stay, if you lived on this porch, you may be planning to stay right on this porch. But all of what the porch is, if you stand all in and you consciously, no one will do it for you, and you can't wait until you get the memo and they're having a nice picnic down on Main Street in New Earth, right? If you take all that time, then the porch will, by your behest, move. It will be in a completely new landscape, a new vibrational landscape. And you will see that touchably, tangibly. You won't see it. You could see it in meditation, but I'm talking about you can see it. It's different. And everything that goes on around is completely different. So anyways, that's what everybody's doing. Me personally, I'm changing what I do for work. So I have, and there has had to be with an NDA around that, very tight-lipped on that. I may say more about that because it's a very interesting thing. But anyways, that has been, so working here for 7 years, a lot of that round the clock time. And there are multiple reasons why I was here. I needed that as a funding source for a lot of things that have nothing to do with that going on to support that, because I needed the time to be behind a locked gate and a certain configuration of lock so that I couldn't actually be picked off from that because I was kind of in the right lock. I'll leave it at that. And so that's a big change. So what I do, I live where I work. So changing where I live, and definitely changing geographic location, definitely changing state location. We'll see where that goes, and starting a new business. So a new life, a new business, a new place, just about anything new that you can think of. Since January of last year, I completely changed. It wasn't intentional, it just was guidance and flow. So today there was this change, and the next evening there was this change. So I don't eat meat anymore, not because I shouldn't eat meat, because if I don't not become a vegetarian, I won't do this. I don't buy into that thing. It just happened, we'll say. So all of those changes and all of the way through, so everything in my life is completely changed for a while. All the new trainings and the new guidance, some with real people that you could, call on the phone, and a lot not yet. And I've been a kind of out there chick for a long time, but even for me, I'm thinking, okay, wow, it's pretty wild, kind of stuff. So, and fascinating. And even as I started this past Sunday night, when I talked to my friend, who's also the general manager, just talked to him to give him the heads up as a friend, and then officially tell him as the GM the next day. From that moment on, from that moment, I've been in a new kind of, initiation's not right. It's a masterclass, maybe. I don't know. It's something beyond a masterclass, not a training. But anyways, I don't know if it's mission prep or fantastical prep or whatever. But it's been interesting to do that. Plus, just be me in the shirt, going, well, that was a wild ass idea you had. So given 40 days notice, I had to give 30, and I thought, well, actually I had played with it, and I thought, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to, I had planned to give notice once I had the wherewithal to buy the travel trailer. I do have a mortgage on the truck. I went from totally debt free to have a mortgage on the truck. But hey, with those 2 letters that I talked about earlier, and anything born of a fraud will be dematerialized officially, along with the SWIFT system and everything else. So that'll help. But until then, there's a mortgage on the truck and no job. So we'll figure that out. And the business is, the concept is there, it's forming, there is interest. I need to be more on the having the services and products available, and then attract the customers who want um, to avail themselves of those. So that's in process, and I've only figured out how to be 24 hours in a day. So, and the job is, around the clock. So that's an interesting process. But with the downloads, it's fascinating because I laughed. Well, actually, yesterday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning with that interesting thing, I laughed because I thought, well, I didn't know that I was niching into the anxiety attack crowd. I need to, if they needed just a short little thing to do a meditation for this or that, I think, but okay, I guess that's always handy to have on your repertoire.
Well, I don't know if this is for you or if it's for me or what, but or even maybe for Lisa, or if it's for all three of us, but the energy of 4 has been like very much around, this week in particular. And you were speaking on things that were, and you were, for 40 days, you chose the 40 days. They're also, 4 o'clock in the morning, I just heard you say again. And Lisa has had quite a bit about 4 around her. I did a live, is it last night? Oh gosh, time's doing a wibbly wobbly thing again. I think it was last night. And the collective card that was pulled was card 44. And and today, even though the 2 cards, and I kept them out because these cards, I've seen this energetic in every single thing that I in this live that I did this morning. And of course, this card has a 4 in it. These cards are 6, but this one was card number 42, which, has the energetic signature of 4 and 2 within it. 6 vibrates the frequency of love, harmony, that's balance, right?
Mother Gaia Earth, yeah.
Right. And 4 vibrates at a foundational. It's foundational, the 4 corners. It's what, something we were, chatting about earlier, Lisa and I. And so I have felt this energetic all over even your words that you're speaking. So, and because I am a very for me, symbolism of the 4 is, it is all about the archangel realm or frequency thereof, what we would think of as that. And I know there's, all these labels, and I do know that we have folks that, when you say things like, angels, apparently it doesn't invoke all that great a thing in everybody. And I get it if folks have had a specific experience, but this is not that. And again, it's very foundational in some ways. I just wanted to call attention to that. For some reason, it feels an important puzzle piece to all of this. It's part of, oh, okay. It's part of that. I don't know. For some reason, it has something to do with 0 point and being balanced and in the foundation of all of that right there, and just allowing and hanging out. For some reason, I'm getting that feeling of inner peace. I was being called to that portion. So it's, for some reason, all of this has something to do with that. It's like I know. Again, as we move towards that which brings us joy, even if it also brings, momentary terror.
It's joyful terror, though,
As all good roller coaster rides will do.
Right, which I've never been a fan of, but this one I like. One of the things too on your 4 thing is interesting because I sat down Saturday night. I was actually at work. It was probably 9:30 at night, and I thought, well, what I'm doing right now, I just need to be here and not really do anything. But I have to be at this place. So I thought, well, I'll just kind of do a draft on the note thing on my phone of my tendering letter. Hey, good use of time, right? On the job. And so I had in playing with it, what had been about 12 days before, that question of, so why haven't you quit yet? I had been playing, well, how I would, when I would give the date I would give it, and then the number of days that I would say I would give, and all that kind of stuff. And I was playing with certain things here and all different things. So as I'm writing it, so in my plan, it was 45 days, blah, 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 in the tendering letter, and also making very sure, because all of the intentional would be completely high vibe and open heart. That has not been the history here at all, but that my agreement was that was how it's going to be. And since I was the one orchestrating that, I wasn't letting anybody else around here let me deviate from it. So it was interesting. So the plan was, I'm starting when I started the draft of it, I had my playing, it was done, and now I was putting it to paper, and it was going to be 45, and I'm typing and it's 40. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it's 40. So that was interesting. So that was a change. And so then I thought, well, hang on, because 45 would have been the 27th. Now, something has always been the date of the 27th for me, this whole journey out to the West Coast. I arrived here on the 27th of 2011 in December. And then there was some other big milestone. My friend here was born on the 27th of January 2014, Keegan. And I shattered my leg in 7 places on August 27th of 2012, I think, or 2013. No, 12. Anyway, somewhere around, but it was the 27th. And then a month later, I had reconstructed the whole leg surgery on the 27th. So anyways, I thought that was interesting. So when that changed, I flipped over to the calendar and I thought, counted the little dots. And 40 days is Earth Day, which is the 22nd of April. I thought, well, that's absolutely fitting. And you bet it's going to be 40 days, not 45 days. And then the way I have it set up, they have 3 PTO, paid time off days, coming to me. So I stop work on the 22nd, Earth Day. And so the 4 plus the 3, if you get rid of the 0, that's a 7, which is a divine number. So I thought, well, okay, sounds good to me. I'm just a girl and her dogs.
Well, so the 40 was, oh, wow. See the deliciousness of all of this decode for me, for you has to be, because I'll add, the 22nd, that's 22. That's a master number too.
Yep.
I mean, and Earth Day, Gaia. I mean, come on. And, in case nobody was aware, BZ is also a Virgo. So, there, you can't get much more Mother Earth than that, as far as, that is concerned. Wow, BZ, I am just so, earlier you said that I had something come in when you were sharing the difference. I felt the frequency difference from just prior to having even spoken to your friend, right? Prior to the official, the way your speech was, I could feel you as you moved from one frequency bubble to another. And I wanted to share with you that I feel that's an interim there's it's like, because you've already, even through your own language, you've alluded to the testing of yourself in different ways, right? So you're in this, you're the one arranging this. There's, you know what I mean? I think we're all doing this for ourselves in these really cool ways.
Everybody is absolutely doing it.
Absolutely. Because
absolutely doing it.
Yes, because I've seen this going on around me too, right? And when folks feel free enough to, you know, have these kinds of conversations, which I'm finding, very interestingly enough, more and more folks are.
More and more folks are, and they're doing it in different speech patterns or thought processes or something, because they may not, this may be totally new to them.
I'm sorry, my mouth just dropped open because Patricia Crawford's in the house and she said, "Hello, beautiful ladies." Oh, I can't believe it, Patricia Crawford.
Beautiful lady.
I'm so glad you found us.
Welcome.
That is so awesome. It's so good to see, well, you know, hear from you, sort of, you know, my darling. My phone number's changed. We need to PM, and oh, gosh, that was really cool. And today of all days, I learned something about that too. And that's a whole other conversation, but
I'm going to actually move into the other place because it's way too chilly for me. So I'm just going to blank my camera so that everybody doesn't get seasick when I move the stuff.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Well, while you're moving, BZ, you've been so brave to share with us, and on camera, I might add. If you guys haven't seen, those of you that are new to my channel that aren't aware of who BZ is or our relationship and all of that, because my other channel has been removed, you know, you won't be able to see the majority of the conversations that we've done together on my channel, but you can go to BZ Rieger, and her channel is featured on my channel. All you got to do is scroll to the bottom and click her beautiful little face there, and it'll take you straight to her channel, and you can subscribe and all. So you've not heard sirens lately. She's so funny. No, I haven't heard sirens lately. She's so funny. I love you. I love you so much. I would love for you to be able to, we need to get together sometime. I think it would only be, we can always meet for a meal or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be lovely. Wouldn't that be fun?
It would, yes. I think that would be fabulous.
Yeah, me too. So, okay, so I lost what I was saying there for some reason, but where was I going with that? Ugh, I hate when that happens. It's like a free flowing, and then I stop it to do something else, and it just goes.
Watching videos and something about brave or something.
Ah, what? Watching videos and being brave. Well, you are, listen to me. Oh yes, your videos. Thank you. Once you get in there, I need to see you. That might help. I'm kind of weird that way. But anyway, no, I'm watching your videos. Folks need to go and look at her new videos that she's doing about her journey. I love that you are being vulnerable and raw and just sharing exactly what you're working through with this, BZ, because personally, as I've said before, for me, I see where we all have translators because we are so unique. Each singularity of the one is so unique. Anything and everything that I go through isn't going to translate to everybody in any way, shape, or form. It's not even going to translate to one person identically, because that's not how this works.
Right.
But sharing things and holding things in an open form, because all of this is so brand new, and quite frankly, that's what we want. We don't want the same old. Thank you.
No. Well, I don't.
No, I want all new. I'll take all new.
Well, it was interesting because I was nudged to, I was asked to, they happen simultaneously. I was nudged to do this, and I was starting to, say, okay. And you have to do them every day. And part of me thought, okay, that's gonna be pretty boring for these poor people, but okay. And the other thing was that, which I thought was fascinating, was there are things that you won't even notice or realize that you're giving voice to, that will be either the right words or the right kind of, picture that they can see that will help, groups of in various ways, specifically people with specific things for themselves. So that was interesting. So in other words, this is, yes, it's your story and you're doing all this and you're being right there and real, but the whole act of sharing it has a whole other track in addition to just watching this person who's, doing this thing.
Well, it's been communicated to me quite a bit, from our viewers over the years, that just watching me specifically, grappling, if you will, with concepts, trying to go from the thinking mind into the heart space, and just watching my process and my being open and honest about the way I feel about things, and being open and honest to hear things, has been helpful. And so what that says to me is that, okay, I'm a translator for those folks. Absolutely. I get that. But I also know you have been a translator for me. So has oh my gosh, Miss Rush over there. She translates for me constantly, and same with Journey Into It. She is a translator for me. I'm surrounding myself with folks that are actually, in my view, you are other portions of me who are helping me get me, because I can't do this alone. I'm not there yet. I'm not a big girl. I can't look inside all that well yet, but I am doing that with the help, without beating up the people around me who are willing to come and play with me, which both of you have done. And I want to remark on what you're doing here very specifically, because you're doing it in the BZ way, and it will most definitely translate for more folks than you will even probably realize ever. That's the way I feel about it. Each one of us that feel called to do this in any kind of way, because we're emitting our frequency anyway. It doesn't matter whether you do it in a public or in private, you're emitting this frequency. And so I feel called to emit it this way. And boy, oh boy, has it been helpful for me, period. End of story. I mean, because I also hear I pay attention to my own words coming up. And you two, when I haven't, you two have been very good at helping me. And so is Journey Into It. Like I said, having friends that are willing to say, oh, really? Or like, let's kind of, let's take a look at that. You're muted,
sweetie.
You're muted. I don't know how that happened, but you're muted.
Oh, I did it because occasionally some people aren't cool with dogs, and there was all of a sudden something was really funny or super exciting, and we had about 3 minutes of rough and tumble. So much so that my microphone kept saying, you're muted, because the noise is coming, and it thought I was trying to talk and I'm not saying anything. I was like, no, that's the Aussies. The interesting thing about So this is, I'll do day 5 today, just a little short one. But it's been interesting that comes through is it has been helpful in some ways for me because it gives me, I always go to, and I have for years, gosh, since a little bit before I got divorced, so since 2005, where I walk through the world. Where there's 3 perspectives. So I see just here, like, you look out of your eyes and that kind of stuff. But I also see there are 2 other all the time. It's like there's different cameras, and I look through 3 sets of eyes, maybe is the best way to describe it. And I think I've described it in better detail in other conversations we've had together. But so when I am live doing the short little report, or for lack of a better word, on the days, I notice things from a different perspective. So I may notice it from a creational or content creator or being a service creator point and going, oh, well, that might be helpful to flesh that out and someone could use it as a tool or something. And I notice it from an out external to me directly perspective and go, well, that's kind of interesting, or well, that's kind of challenging, whatever it is. So I say, so that's been interesting to do it that way. What's really cool is the videos that come in, and so most people aren't used to it. When I pretty much 24/7, I have videos that play in my head. So right now while we're talking, and these are, think of the most beautiful, high color, high def videos, just as you look at a really cool movie or something, and they come through that relates to what we're talking about or other things. And so during this process, since Sunday night, the videos that have come in and the videos that come in when I'm actually overlaid on doing a video of the daily thing they're much more multidimensional. They're much more high def. They're much more multimedia related. I mean, there's a little bit of soundtrack now on some of them, which I think is very interesting. And so I try to just meet them and not decode them, but just meet them and play with them and immerse myself in them. But they're all instructive. They're all illustrative. They're all guidance. They're all tools, not just for me, but to share. And something you had said about that my voice, as in the giving voice, maybe the tone and tenor has changed as well, but certainly the giving voice has changed since that Sunday night. And it has, and it's I have completely stepped out of the old me, the old life, the old shell construct vibrational configuration into a new one. I think this is like a puppy, it will, if you're looking at a puppy, sometimes when they're moving or playing or something, you can see their big dog face, if that makes sense. Or same with a baby or anything like that. They'll have an expression and it'll be more the configuration of their bone structure or just an expression or something. So it's kind of like that where I got my new puppy face on, I guess. And moving in that, and what's happening in that is it's distinctly different. Everything about it is different. The physical body is entirely different. The giving voice is different. The energy is different. It's as if this was a stage set. Okay, I'm not going to make the joke. I'm going to resist making the White House joke on this whole thing because I'm trying to keep this channel,
Yeah, let's try to keep this one up, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's
So,
not tempt them.
right. So it's as if you're, if you're doing a movie and, big out in California, they've got big stage sets, indoor, outdoor. So as if this house and this life job, everything here was a stage set, and I got picked up and moved to a replica of everything, but on a completely different planet, different landscape, different sphere, all think of every way you might think of that, and completely different. And the old has just dematerialized.
You are again describing for me what I felt in regards to your moving from one frequential bubble to the next of your making, even your words in regards to having your puppy feet, your puppy face, and I'm sorry, when you said the puppy, what I saw how some, like actually it was more almost like what popped in was, how a foal will, right? And I, because that is the energy that I feel, and it's precious and sacred. And I want to honor you and your willingness to be raw and vulnerable. I know what that's like, because I know what that feels like when that goes through my body. I know, or at least how it's translating to me, because I have had those raw and vulnerable moments. And I know how, for me, how absolutely freeing. It's so counterintuitive. It really is, especially for someone like me who's, trying to prove her whole life that I got this, but no matter what y'all say, I can handle it, right? To a degree that, was not all that healthy for me, right? And so it's very counterintuitive to lean into that curve and the emotions and that vulnerable, raw, but it's also so freeing and empowering once I started doing that, because what I could see, sense, and feel of my own self. And so I just want to honor you for doing that for yourself first and foremost, and for sharing it with the rest of us.
In that vulnerability that's where each of our innate and true as an authentic strength is. And
absolutely,
because when you're there, you don't have to set out to do it. You don't have to try to do it. You are in the heart, coming from the heart, and you are aligned with the high heart. You may not have fully opened it yet. There may be degrees to it, obviously, right? Depending on where you are and the consciousness that expands. Right. But you can't be there. You can't be authentic and in that space without being in the place. You may not be locked in alignment, but you've got to touch it to be there. And, there are sayings like, love is the strongest thing. And yes, not the love that many people think about on planet Earth and in the linear thing. That's not love at all. And wait till you find, think of the best love you've got in that view. And wow, when you meet the other, you're going to go, whoa. But
your knees.
What'd you say, Lisa?
It'll bring you to your knees.
Yes.
Oh, and has. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And
the and the glory of it and the light of it and the shining radiance of it is cosmically delicious.
Right. And it makes all of that vulnerability and all of that pain that I have dived into. I so see this whole figure 8 thing, the infinity symbol, in such a different way. And I equate that metaphorically to diving into, for me, it was very interesting you bring it up in the way you did, BZ, because like I said, when it was time for us to meet and you texted, hey, it says there's another meeting in progress. I was recording something that I felt to record, and it was all about Chiron and Aries. And quite frankly, what you're describing there is the wound that each of us carry. And make no mistake, we all carry it. Nobody got left out in this because the original wound is separation from the all that is. And you don't know how you don't even realize what that is because we forgot that we were all that is.
Right.
So it's right. So
we got left on this planet and WTF, man, Scotty, beam me up.
Right. When in fact, I'm now seeing it the other way. It's like, no, get more of me in here.
That's right. Absolutely. There is, everything is coming into us and that fulfilling. So the heart piece, I started on that because it's essential. It's the only way. But that's been part of the downloads where I've been directly experiencing the knowing. I've been learning things about it that I'll be asked to bring forward to, teach and relay, and however I end up phrasing that. But it's a whole new, an incredibly different level of so if I was purely linear, I'd say I'm learning this stuff for the first time. It's not. I'm remembering and reconnecting all of it, and the linearized learning, the shirt is learning it. Because when I go to play with it, the magic wand already works, if that is a good analogy, right? And the superpower gloves, they already fit like a glove, all that kind of stuff. And so that's been fascinating to play with that and to see that kind of stuff emerge. So, okay, this is a good, this is one of the tools that I used to, yesterday morning, 4:00, when I had a panic attack, which I've never had in my entire life. And I hope to keep saying that. I was laying in bed and I was setting the grid and everything before I had to get up. And no reason not to be a lovely thing, right? I'm safe. There's no, right? I'm doing this whole big cool idea and changing everything. But anyway, so I felt like being quaked, and then it was getting more and coming closer, and all of me, and fists around my throat and around my chest and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, and then I had one of the videos that I have come in, and I look around and the walls in my room, in my tiny house, changed to all beautiful raw cut hand hewn wood beams of a cabin in a house in upstate New York, where I was there in a late June afternoon for my oldest brothers was getting married, and I was in a room with my husband at the time in the cabin. My brother, who was born the same day, same time as me, 3 years apart, so we have that twin connection, but not in the linear sense. And he's in this other room with his husband, and he's having a full-blown panic attack. Like if you could think of any horror movie or any want to scare the bejesus out of you movie of what this is, it's terrifying to hear, and the echo of energetics coming, like the room was just, if you looked at the door was kind of bulging, with this. And I'm thinking, damn, do I go help her? So this video is playing, starts 4:00 in the morning, and Keegan said, I'm trying to sleep here. I'm saying, yeah, me too, buddy. I'm right there with you. And playing of this, so I'm being shown that this is the train, the freight train that's zoom coming down on you. And I said, no, I don't know what the focus is, what Amtrak model of the train is, or any of those kinds of things, but no. And I'd hope that, that good it would be. So that didn't quite work, but at least it got me on the thing that I am choosing, until I can't choose anymore, to not accept that train. And so this comes to the heart part. So I thought, well, let me pull out every trick I can think of because it's getting bigger and it's taken over my central nervous system. And I don't know if you've ever had one or close to one or seen someone else. You can't do anything about it. It's simply, you know. So so I'm doing, I have some different breathing and I have some different, things, and that would help a little, kind of. And um and then I was guided, and luckily the other video left and this new video came in about I'd say different, because it's not innate in the shirt yet, about being in the heart, directing where to go and how to set that field and how to fully let it bloom, particularly when it's not, you're not at the top of the mountain and you're not oming and contemplative. You've got the Amtrak that's, running you over in about 2 seconds. And that was interesting. That helped a lot. It still had the quaking, and then doing, it's fascinating because this is all new earth stuff. So new earth abilities, new protocols, new modalities that are being given to me and playing with and working with. So that was very helpful. That got me out and let the dogs out, and I had a few more minutes before I had to start the work day, So I thought, well, I didn't even think about it. I don't know what I thought. I thought, well, this is going to be a fun day. Let's see if I can let go of this more, or tell it to go away more, or whatever the right word is. And so I was just nudged to start doing one of these. It's a component of all the modalities coming in. It's a crystalline alignment, grounding, and expansion. So it's kind of like all the fun superpower stuff and grounding through the heart based and some other things. So it's has a bit of dowsing in there. So it's a component of the whole thing. And it's interesting because it's a component that I was just recently guided to offer to people in the founding members, those who wanted to come play and test it out. The invitation was, if you and your family, cats, dogs, because it works on animals, excellent, they love it. Anyway, so I thought, but I didn't think about someone else. I just started doing it on me, and before I realized that helped, but I just flowed into, because I have a list and a whole kind of guided time, and then I was guided, well, now you're working on them. I'm like, okay, great. I mean, I'm still got the train. And then time disappeared. So all other awareness of anything else disappeared. All awareness of, you have to leave to go to work in X number of minutes. All that just disappeared. And I totally went into the space of doing this protocol on the different families that had asked. Some was like 5 people and 3 cats, and so it's cool, and doing with that and just totally being in the moment. And I kind of came back to myself and that changes because it's evolving, so it expands every time, and came back to myself. The Amtrak train was nowhere to be seen. No train track tire marks over me. All of that thing. And so not only was that resolved and all that, none of that was there, but I was completely different. So I was taller, and the structure, bone structure, even the muscle structure, the way where my shoulders open up, and I think what these, your pecs here, and a rib cage was a different alignment. And that was, noticeable enough that I thought, because it's been such a laid back morning, I thought, I'm taller and wow, my shoulders are alive. So, and I felt and was completely different. And one of the ways that I can get external to me confirmation of that is I can look at, Keegan or Xander, the Aussies, and then Rose, or combination of them, and they'll tell me, they'll come and sniff, because it's like, okay, no, still mom, but different mom model, or something, or you flew off somewhere and came back, kind of a thing. So they were alerting that there had been a change as well. So that was fascinating to
Well,
me.
as I said, this is not a surprise to me based on, again, just my feel and your languaging. All of this, all of what you've just related is just another proving for me. My theory of you stepping from one frequency into another just grew. You just solidified that even more for me. And I have this feeling that everyone is doing something very similar, because I'm having very similar
They absolutely are.
yes, and it's just in varying different ways. Jennifer Brown has joined us and wanted to give a shout out. Lori Wheeler was really happy she could make it, but Jennifer wanted to say we must remember that we are not in this alone. We will have support, even if the support is not in the way which we would picture it. And I know she's right, as I was guided to share. Never used your names. I think I did use Jennifer Brown's name, but and I did have on camera before, but the two of you, I felt your energy signatures around me, and in several instances where I've had things in this room that I've been, uh, in the midst of transformation and being held by energy signatures that I absolutely recognized on some level, not by sight, by any manner of speaking. And there were more than just you three, but I just know that I felt you three very specifically. So I know that she's smack on for what she's saying, whether we believe that or not. That was something else that came through today for me too. See, loads of synchronicities in what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something powerful, absolutely, a whole burgeoning of the new, absolutely, but essential to what's going on. So there are, and people will hold it different ways, but there are two distinct planet Earths right now. And no, it's not a round blue ball and a round blue ball sitting next to each other, but they are interlaid or energetically on each other, and they're very distinct.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I prove it to myself pretty much 24 hours a day here, because I live where I work, and there are lots of people who live here as well, and lots of people who just come for the day and work and leave, right? Big place.
Right.
And you bet, this is one planet. And that's an entirely different planet. And I can drive to different places on this big place where I'm just meeting Gaia, and all of the places that I've touched with all of the gardens and such have actually laid all the groundwork for New Earth to fully be there. And if there isn't too much disturbance, you can go there and go. People walk places that I come upon something that because it asked me to make it from the ground, out, and they'll go, it's really different here. Was this used to be something? They don't know what it is, but they definitely noticing something. So the essential part is that there are those who are ascending because they've chosen to, and they haven't just said, yeah, I'm in. They've actually are continually doing that process, right? There are some who have thought that's a good idea, but they have not really been doing it. They're waiting for the memo. So they're going to go down to the picnic. And then there are some, because of that, whether because they had no choice or they, whatever, they did it. And so that's changed the thing. And that's more than what we think it is. It's more than just a linear construct of that. It has different components to it. And then there's some where, well, but my family or this or the other, whatever it is, it's all free choice. And you're always making a choice. Whether you're consciously choosing is an entirely different conversation, but you're making the choice. So the essential part is that as these constructs, one is breaking down and the wholly new one, there's a choice point, and everybody has a free will, and their choice for them is spectacular choice because it's their choice and they're the expert for them. But is a choice, and with that comes a landscape. With that comes a palette of magnificent painting, video, whatever tools, whatever things, that music, whatever it is, in that choice that you can avail your superpowers, that you can now, it's in your palette, it's in your repertoire, you can avail yourself of. And an awful lot of beings, because of how they have chosen or taken action or not taken action, right? And all of it is perfect for each one. There is no good or bad here. This is good or bad. It's none about that.
No, that's right.
That's it. That's part of the old crumbling that's going down.
Mm-hmm.
But their next opportunity for all this will, be about 2 million years from now, just because of the way that the planets and all, because everything is connected. So all of those things align, not good or bad. It simply is how the flow goes. And it's a choice point by each of the beings. So having said that, so you don't just think, okay, well, go down with the ship sort of a thing, and you go on your merry way on that thing. Within that, there are vibrational landscapes that are forming that will be, so you'll be on the older frequency planet and the earth, and how that will unwound and unbound in the construct, and then in your physical embodiment on this we're going to say on that earth, right? And until you end that, it's however people end different things, right? You're born and you live and then you die. So along that linear, we could look at the linear thing. And then when they choose to come into embodiment again, they, because of their, going forth to no source path, so you come out of the super source and you're in an embodiment, or not, tangible or not, and you go along your thing. And so you keep having different choices and that's how you grow as a soul and move forward. So on that earth, so I'm putting it over here because it's different than the one I'm on. That earth, their next flow and opportunity and choices to do where a lot of people at the choice point now of ascension will be, a bunch of million years down the road. But in the process if you just take this lifetime, so however old they are and wherever their path is for this lifetime. And it's so interesting, all the videos that are coming in that's showing me more of this and new interesting sounds too. But in this, is a little distracting, in this lifetime that they have, this is where, for that area, the essential part comes in, is that how they walk forward, how they step forward, how they now consciously participate and choose in their own unfolding, has very dramatic input and effect on their palette. So you could, and this is not quite accurate, but I'm going to use it as a linear placeholder. So it means that there will then be levels and layers energetically within that earth that set all the thems based on their choices and how they're doing, of how they would be. So if you thought about it, if you're look at the construct of star seeds, or people who, you know, right now or maybe a couple of years ago when there was the whole one thing, people more awake or knowing spiritual or all that kind of stuff. And so there was, not to be hierarchical, but levels in energetics, right? They had more awareness, or they had more abilities tuned in, or they were getting the falseness of the false construct, right? So over here, you'll have that same thing, and it will be a different, almost like a starting again, a different layer. So they'll see, they'll see what is happening for what it is and what their trueness is within that. And so again, how they're choosing and how their awareness and consciousness is expanding within that, that will go to where they choose to embody next. So there's a natural completion to that life, and then they'll choose where they go next. And they'll be on that path, so that it's, if you want to use the term waking up or something like that, they're setting that. So the reason I bring that part, so that's the essential part for them, to be conscious about that and do that. The essential part for others over here is where we've heard a lot about, you know, it's being in the heart, absolutely, and moving from that and using you as a jumping point, although I don't think most have really comprehended just how big and essential it is, but how absolutely sublimely delicious and magical that is when we really start to stand it. Because I've touched it a little bit, and it's blown the socks off of anything I've ever experienced before, and that's been pretty cool. But the essential part over here is, while there still is the connection between these two, although it's separating more, connection between, right? So like when I'm, as I said, gave the example where I in theory, it's the same planet, it's the same piece of property, but it's not. They're kind of driving in next to each other. So the essential part over here for people is to then help people with a smile, or there can be lots of ways that you do that, in transmitting, right? In streaming those frequencies, streaming what one is. It could be intentionally, it could be through all sorts of things. It could be just walking into a store saying, hi, how you doing? And right? You know, it doesn't have to be, it could be all sorts of ways. But the essential part is understanding that, knowing that, comprehending that, feeling into that play, because that is the thing that helps to reassure. Because if a lot of people they have no idea. I mean, they thought the world was this way and it was run this way and this, and yeah, what are you talking about? That's the way it is. And in less time than that, they're going to go, you know, because they'll see what it, you know, all the curtain will come down, and all those would be, it's all false. It's all facade. So this is the way to help people do that. And the beautiful thing about that, I mean, obviously help others in this realm too, but the beautiful thing is that they'll have an awareness to it now. They'll have an appreciation to it now, and they'll have a knowing of why for them on their journey, because they are the expert for them, this was absolutely sublimely delicious choice for them. And in your assistance, in however that comes, that play, that connectivity, that interchange, right, with them now will help them navigate through, like I said, all those layers. They can hyper accelerate themselves from, it's just a placeholder, but if they're on level 2 to level 8 right away, because, oh, I got it. This is right. So this is exactly what they wanted, and they're helping it. So it makes it that it's a beautiful thing. It's not like, well, this is the good side and this is nothing about any of that. But to see it come forward is very, very fascinating.
No, you're absolutely right. Lori Wheeler actually said she's had this comment a little bit ago, and I wanted to go back to it because I think a lot of us are experiencing some of what you were speaking on there when she typed this, BZ. She said, is this in the now about physical changes? Because I have noticed my own. I can see the differences in BZ from the last time I've seen her. Now, granted, Lori Wheeler hasn't been on in a while, but I've seen BZ. I know probably since Lori Wheeler has, but I feel a difference in BZ, even though I feel like we're all changing. And as far as what you're speaking on, yeah, it is in the now for me.
Absolutely. Right
Um,
now.
I,
Right.
I've been changing timelines at a rate that I just don't even. And I've had several private conversations with folks where they're convinced that's happening for them too, with dreams that they're having of like
And you're
closing out old things and.
collapsing them. Yep.
Mhm.
It is right now. It is tangible, and you don't have to look hard to see it, and you have to look hard to not see it. That's where any effort comes into. It's tangible, it's visceral, it is absolute right in the now, and it's very linear.
Mhm.
So that's a little bit of a mind stretch there because it's a multidimensional thing. You are phasing up into locking into phase with your multidimensionality, but it's happening in the plain linear stuff. And those who, again, I'm just using placeholder language, but those who are in the plain linear, hood that they're hanging out in, they notice it too. They have no idea how to quantify it. They might say, "Did you get your hair cut?" That kind of a thing where you're not sure what's different, but something's different about
Right.
and it keeps happening all the time. Or they might say, "I didn't used to like this, but this morning I couldn't wait to eat this." So,
Yeah, that's
and they're
happening.
like, "It was really good. I mean, I used to hate it." So and vice versa. So it's happening all of the time. And since I'm known as, either the steady one where, she'll have a thought about how to help fix that, or the, kind of spooky, weird one, they're noticing it, and they're watching because it is, a group of, so even if I haven't spoken to people directly, they know that I'm leaving. So there's the, did she get fired? Did she leave? Okay, why did she, all that kind of stuff. And because there's
Yeah, the typical workplace chatter.
yeah, and there is hierarchy, because in most places I don't even work for that, although I do stuff in that, but I don't work for them. So if you're looking at rungs, well, in
You're in a
theory,
category over by yourself, really.
yeah, and a higher rung, although from my experience it's been the lowest damn rung that's around. But so that's interesting to see that and noticing that change. But very much like they noticed that I was the only one who never wore a mask here when everybody else was, and so, but the energetic is happening, Lori Wheeler, right this minute. It's in the now moment. It's on all levels and all layers, regardless of in the moment where you have chosen to play with your consciousness level. It's game on, and it's across the board. It's on both planets, right? It's on both actual. These are now the realms. So the worlds, however you want to voice it, the Earths are cohesive structures now within themselves. They're a living, growing whole experience within itself, and people can move back and forth. There's still a bit of time where people can, well, at least I could say they could, if this is the unwinding and unbinding one here that's all coming down, you can move from this over to here. You can glimpse this, but you can't move this way. And it's so cool to watch people who even I don't know, 15, 20 days, 30 days ago thought, well, the mask or this or whatever, they have a completely different, now they haven't started, looking at alternative meat or anything, but the light bulb is going on, And that's very interesting to watch, how that, and because that's just in one indicative symbol of their own changing, their own body changing.
Yeah. I feel like it's a symptom of source rising. Source is rising within each one of us. And a rising tide floats all the boats. And that's what's happening here. And so we are just beginning to peep in the physical realm all of the changes that we've made in the interior realm. We are not who we used to be by any stretch of the imagination. And that is why our external world must change to reflect these changes. And the changes started out very small at first, from what I've been able to notice. And now I see them, it's almost like it was just a little teeny snowball, right? As it got started. And now we've just got honking snowballs coming down now that cannot be missed. And it just feels really exciting to me, because even though it almost feels like there's more chaos, if you actually just look at it as a whole, like just stand back and take in the scene without narrowing your focus to look at any one thing too closely, and you can sort of see the dance take place. That is the self-correcting that is required, at least for myself. I've been able to notice that the dance, so everything got agitated, right? And everybody's jumping around and it looks like nobody's in their right place, sort of. But the beauty of it is they're in motion, because things used to be so solid, so secure, that it looked to us so solid that it were immovable. And right now we can see through it. There's so much movement. It's almost like we're able to see through the molecules now and see the other side, that truly what we're looking at is a facade. And the more that we change inside and embrace the changes that are coming, that rising tide, right, buoys us. And before you know it, we're going to be on the other side of this facade, right? And we'll just be like, the world will seem unrecognizable to us. But, I have to say, I've become quite unrecognizable to myself. So I am expecting that my world will reflect that very soon.
Yeah, exactly correct. And Lori Wheeler, I just want to say this. Lori was saying that she has been off. She's been offline for 7 months. That changes. She said the changes I have had and C and BZ are more than 7 months. I do know my new path is starting also. I had so much come in on my time off the net. I've been waiting for the divine timing, which is now, instead of what the family was trying to get me to do a year ago. Yep, I was going to get a tattoo of a phoenix rising. I will be using that as part of a symbol on a channel I will be making. Well, you know that you and I are destined to dance, lady. So just you know, I've been craving conscious conversation with you for a long periodical time. So you get that little phoenix symbol and get yourself ready together. We got to have us a conversation, because I feel like what all of us, you're right. It's all this feeling. It's all, and in varying different degrees, everyone is on their path. And what I feel very strongly too, again, it's going to look and feel completely different for each, as we've each set it up to be experienced in a particular kind of way. And I cannot tell you that for me, that has now gone from an intellectual exercise into an alchemical epiphany, because the inner peace that comes from having that as a knowing now rather than a thinking. I cannot describe. The greater portion of me is in charge of all of this. All I got to do is show up.
Well, and you know,
And have fun, because for me, that is what be leading from the heart is.
Yeah.
That should never be painful or hard or difficult or I don't wanna. It should never be that. At least that's my feeling on coming from the heart.
well, yeah, if you're in the heart, it isn't those things. If you're not in the heart or you're kind of
Right.
on the edge, you know, then it is those things. You know,
Right.
you talk a lot about, and in such a helpful way for people, where you've got the all, you are the all, and then you are the singularity. So when you're talking there about, you know, it will show up in very different ways and unique ways for everybody. Yes, and there will be, even though you could think those are disparate ways or different things, there is a large collection of sameness that may not be the same at all, but right. So there is that allness and the singularity to it. One thing I just wanted to jump back for a minute and say to Lori Wheeler and anyone else, I'm going to start to do the thing of the on the path, where it's people who are starting new things, whatever that means for them. If they would like to come and talk about that, share what the journey that they're going on, I would love to have people just email me at Living Life in HD. And there already have some just totally unrelated mentioning something. Well, you know, I've created this, that, and the other thing, and I'm expanding it. Some of it is totally intangible, some is mixed, some is fully linear. And so people are starting to play in that way. So because and what I've been guided with that is that when one gives the voice to that, so their dream, their thing, it's a component to reflecting it back to their ears and their feeling just themselves, but it's also that community where when you put it, you give voice to it, you put it into the physical realm, and then it can start to blossom there more than wherever you are already.
Yes, absolutely. And so now you also do something over at Living Life in HD, in the New Earth Community Porch, and you're doing that twice a month. Is that right? You're
Two
planning on
different times, yeah, because there's people from the I didn't know that there were quite that many time zones in the world. I think it's 24, 27, but there you go. So yes,
My.
on the what did you say, 29?
No, I said,
she
oh
said, oh
my.
my.
Yeah, you look at all the charts and you try to get one that goes like this. It's kind of interesting. But so on the second Thursday of every month, it will be, it's new, it's a 90-minute thing. It's noon to 1:30 Pacific time. So wherever you are on Gaia, that is, and you can come for the whole time, drop by, whatever it is, and they're published afterwards. And on the fourth Tuesday of the month, it's in the evening. It's 5 to 6:30 Pacific, so that it kind of goes around the globe, sort of a thing.
Okay. And I don't have my calendar up right here, but the fourth Tuesday, that's going to be next week, right?
That
Because
is,
I showed up to the last one you had. That was fun. I wasn't able to stay, but
it's the 22nd. Yep. And I'll start. There's a calendar feature on Living Life in HD on the right hand side. You just, it says, you know, it's like a calendar looking thing. You click it and it'll show you a little blurb about that. And if you're a subscriber, you'll get a thing about it. One of the people who came to one of the first ones, the first one we did, she talked about it on camera, and then she wrote me a note about it afterwards that she liked, it sounded intriguing that it was, you know, drop by the porch setting, you know, porch sitting, porch chatting. That was appealing. But she particularly liked it because there was a container, a space set, but there was no agenda. There was no, right? And so there was a flow, and it was porch sitting where, you go into the country store and you come out with a cup of hot chocolate or ice cream sundae or whatever it is, and you pull up some worn pieces of wood and sit down and, hey, how's it going? And did you get that fence fixed with the sheep ran out, or I'm looking for this, or if and was so fascinating in the first one that I'm speaking on here, where people were coming and going, and it was just this natural flow. And then there'd be a moment where, like, you might be looking at the bird, sort of a thing. And so that's what I'd love to see. That's the whole reason I was guided to do them, is that they're organic, and it really is being in the space. And the last one was interesting because Sheila showed up, but it was a very crowded New Earth porch, and there was only time, if you watch the video, where there's only 2 corporeal beings on it, and then it was me the rest of them, because I've commit to hold that space and open it up for that amount of time, and I have no problem just sitting there and having, hey, 90 minutes where I don't have to go quick and answer. Wow, that's, who knew? But things were coming in as if I was just sitting. It was a little cold that day, so on the porch. But the reason I say it was full is that there were high Christ consciousness beings, but some that I had never met before and never experienced before. And that was fascinating. And I was kind of porch sitting and musing, and the other camera's running, and I'm not really paying any attention to it. And I'm looking around, and it was, again, different, because they were just this side of out of phase. So if you've ever watched Darkness, they were just this side of being corporeal,
fully corporeal,
or visionable.
I have to share with you that you said something earlier too, that and this has brought that back around for me, that what I've been noticing for me, and I've alluded to it a few times in a couple of my lives, where we've had this idea that the veils out there become thin at certain times, right? Specifically in astrology and whatnot. What I'm beginning to notice is that the veils actually are in here. They're in here, and that's why there's, I've always thought that there was going to be this moment out there where they dropped, and we all got, that whole the event, we all have heard about that, and I think there is, to a degree, an event, but what it's all, I think, again, it's going to be all individual and happen in your own timing, and it will mark a difference, a changeable, noticeable difference for you. I think we event all over the place all the time. Actually, I think we event every time we go up, hierarchical. I don't even know how to, it just feels like the frequency is increasing, right? I mean, in some sort of way, and in my known languaging way of trying to communicate what I'm feeling here.
I think the up is kind of a natural place, or not for hierarchical, because it's rarefied. So it's lighter. It's not that density. It's not that stuck dualityness, right? So it's like you're a balloon with light and floating and free, right? So
up could be part of the reason. Yeah.
That's
there was something else you said earlier, BZ, that I know this is probably a different conversation, but I really, I've talked about it several times today, and I've put it out to my viewers, and I'd like to get yours involved as well, because honestly, for me, I see where, first of all, it's more than ascension than what we're doing here. That's a misnomer. And that is also why I use terminology of up, right? Because there's this idea that we are, and of course Christ ascended out of his body, and as the new cage has perpetuated its right with the inversions, there's always this idea of ascending out of the body when actually
Implosion. That's what this was the
right.
term. Yeah, it's an implosion. I'm not big at or good at labeling things because I just don't pay much attention to them.
No,
Sometimes
I
I
realize,
throw
but
them
for
out there because people have heard it, so they might kind of get. Because most of the times people are looking at me going, "Huh."
right. No, I know. Well, that's why I say for me, because everything else is new, I want to come up with a new term that we create for the new earth that actually explains, and it could be a whole new word. I don't care if it's something that's never been used before, exactly what it is that we're sort of doing, because I view it as rather than well, I don't want to go there. That's a whole other conversation. I'm sorry. I got whole track just came in, and
Well,
that's for another time, because we're here to celebrate you
it's a very
and what
cool
you're doing.
conversation.
And we're coming up on 2 hours here. And I want to get back to what you're doing, because you are also developing and bringing in a lot of things for your business. And I want to also get you on record here to say that you and I will have some conversations or experiential things if anybody that has also participated that wants to come, and because I know I signed up to play with you about your crystalline I'm not going to pretend to understand all of what you shared with me there. I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. And I purposefully haven't asked you because I want us to do a conscious conversation about it, if you're open for that too. Because I love what you're doing, and you're doing the same as a lot of us are. We're just getting with it now. We're just getting, this is me. This is what I feel drawn to. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. If you want to play, come play, because there's no way to bring in the new except to, I don't know,
Do
step
it.
out of the box and bring in the new.
Do something totally new.
That's it. And you can't experience the new if you're not part of bringing in the new, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Let me just say this too, BZ, because I've struggled with this myself.
It's not a mall you go shopping. You have to, unless you
because
build the building, stock it, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's all the choices that have been offered as a new choice for you to go and choose from. This is why. Remember, I told you when I first started conversating with BZ a long time ago, before we ever even got face to face, I said I jumped straight to the fantastical. Well, I thought that was a derogatory thing about the whole thing, but actually, I can see where that kind of attitude is essential, because we have to allow ourselves. I saw an article the other day that said the worst thing to happen to all of us was the kids aren't bored anymore. We don't allow ourselves to get bored.
That's right.
Because that's where the imagination was activated. And the imagination is the creative soup of source. It's where
it's the paintbrush,
right.
We not just in a paintbrush, but so you're the creational force comes through the heart in that Trinity alignment, your heart, soul, your being, imagination, and then you paint it. You don't have to use paint at all, but just as a metaphor, into being. And you speak it into being, you bring it into being, you connect it into being. You come into alignment, just like the now moment thinking. A lot of times it's used, well, you have to come in the now moment, not in the past, not in the future. Well, I got news for you. There's only one moment, and it's the now moment. And yes, there are, in a frequency base, there's your future self, who's sitting right in this chair at the now moment, right? But again, you might look at it as kind of levels, simply if you need a visual reference to do it, but it's all here. Your past self is here, and you're integrating all of that. That's how the jumping forward, up leveling comes into being, because you're jumping up the layers of yourself.
Well, I wanted to also say that I see very, very clearly for me where what you're doing and what a lot of us are doing by doing this, showing up and saying, this is what I'm doing now, and doing that leap of faith on that new earth adventure. That is to me, that is a significant stepping outside of the box of what we've always done in the way that we've always done it, and taking a chance on, I don't know, yourself, and the unknown, because and I know the unknown is scary. I know the unknown is scary, but guess what? That's where the completely new that we've never ever thought about before resides.
Right.
Everything known is in the box. I don't want what's in the box. No.
Well, it's interesting. You asked about, tell a little bit about the business and what I'm being nudged right.
I'm just clear that that's what you're doing. Totally. I wanted to be very clear. I see Journey Into It doing the same thing. This is very clear to me. This is a stepping outside of the box,
right,
and pulling in new.
Yeah, and the business box. So I do have, certain services, like I do the soul inspired blueprint readings. You both have had them. Cool. That's a service. These different modalities, those will be services, different smaller little things that are, because you have wacky experiences just up to day 4, and so new activations that'll be recorded, and but one of the things that just came through now is there are things where, so I have plans that are already there. You can sign up for one, you can buy it, you can come in a workshop, you can do different things. But what is also part of the new, so not in the box, is that if you're, and I've been nudged to just set the invitation, or maybe make this new, not a box, but a new platform of how to do business. So if you've heard me talking about something, either something that I've done or solved or created, and you like that, and you would like some play with that. So you could say help, you could say expansion, playing with that, or just want to play with it, want to kind of meet it and have a, if you go, what are those, they have like, so we can go to a pottery place. It's all set up, and you walk in, and you have the already just painted pottery. But there's some you throw pots. You go in, they have all the tools, so you don't have to go buy. You just go, and you have a community. You have a coffee shop there, and you go and do that. So if you say, well, I like to, you mentioned something, and I'd like to play with more about that, get in touch with me and tell me that. And it could be that we work out a one-on-one thing, or maybe there's other people who've said the same thing, and there's a small way I help you with that, and we have an exchange of value there. But also, you're the instrument who's come forward to let that bloom, and it meets something within you, within others, within me, unbeknownst to maybe all of us, and it comes forward, and now that's a workshop that runs. Or maybe it's what I call the labs, where we're playing with energetic things or stuff like that. And so right now, because a monetary exchange of things for things is, until we're not fully in the transformation of the value and the currency, I need that, because there's that invention called the gas pump. and with the resident, in that Blanco house in Washington D.C., it's gotten a wee bit more expensive. So anyways, so there are things that they're already up, there are more coming up all the time. But if there's something that you go, I heard you talk about this, or and I don't understand it, but I'm intrigued, or I'm called to it, or I do understand it, and hey, I've been doing it, I want to play with it, come and say, is there a way, this is interests me, can we play with this? Can you create something? Can we have a one-on-one? Can we do a workshop? Can it be an email? That is what I'm guided, is one of the things that I will do. So I can't tell you how it works, but I know at the rate that the videos have now, well, they've always been coming in a lot, but the astonishing beauty of them and complexity, they're not complicated, the complexity of them, the richness of them in what they're giving forth is part of that. So it's almost like by your very asking, you and your soul are, there's a reason that you're feeling that and you're asking that. So take that leap of courage to play in that way. And you've just created this new thing because you asked for it. I'm just one of the paintbrushes that's helped. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. What I I'll let me just let's do as you and I always do, BZ, because I have to repeat what I think I hear you say. Because let's just face it, I want to make sure I got what you're saying. Okay. And what I think I heard you say just now in my terminology would be that you the way I look at that is that if it arises within one and they are magnetically drawn to me with a question, or, well, first of all, I don't ever think there's anything as a dumb question, and or if there's something that you feel nudged to share, bring up, whatever, there's a reason. Again, this for me goes back to, so what I heard you say is, follow what brings you joy in each moment. If something that you've said, BZ, meaning now you, taking it back to your words, has invoked a thought, a feeling, a video within someone else, a hearing of something, a journaling of something that came from you, and this person feels magnetically drawn, you want them not to dilly-dally around, but to contact you. Now, is that what I heard?
Yes,
right?
that's exactly right. Because
Okay,
it
I
may
want to
be
make sure,
around,
because
absolutely right, because there's something there, and it has mostly to do with whoever the you is.
right,
You've called me forth. Maybe you're wrestling with something, and so you're looking for some solution energy, the energetic of solution, not fighting with something anymore, not worrying about something anymore, but to create that solution, and you can't see it yet. So something has lit. So your soul is connecting with you and brought you in front of me in front of you, however you want to say it, right? If you're thinking, well, how do I do that? Or I want to play with that, or I really want to solve this, or remove, release, relinquish that. And something may be linearly connected or not. I met this here in that moment, then email me. There's a million ways to do it. Go on the LLD Living Life, and you can put the things in and say, this date, this video, this post, whatever it was, something about it. And I'm not sure what it is, but is there a way we can play with that? Right. And it may just be an email. It may be, well, that's interesting because the video just went off, and yeah, would this, if I created something like this, would that help? And so it may go on to help others as well. It may never go on to anything but just for you. But that's how we play in the new earth. That is how there is that community, co-creation, connectivity, right? Because it's not like marketing in the old days, or your menu of services. I'm trying to call back. It's hard now to do it, even though I used to call back menu of services, those kinds of things, because that's not how they're born. They're born because people are magnetized to it, and they honor themselves. And here's the point that's really essential. Someone is experiencing something and they honor themselves. and they trust themselves and they have the courage for themselves and they are returning the love of their soul from to them back to them and the all, and they speak up and say, I may not understand this or I may know exactly why, but this is connective to me. Is there a way we can play with this? Is there a way that you can help me with this? Can you, what, because it'll take different forms. And so that's part of the teaching or the guiding that I'm being asked to do is that very could be a very simple thing, but it's, from what I'm seeing right this moment, it's unlocking, it's helping, it's you using a key to unlock something within you. I'm simply the facilitator that will help you do that.
Awesome. And where and what email address do you want folks to?
Beezy@livinglifeinhd.com. And you can go to the website livinglifeinhd.com and go there, and there's places to contact me. The good way to do it is if you're on the subscribe to the newsletter, there's lots of stuff there that you'll get, information, and I do different activations and stuff you can just have for free with that. But you just, when you get a newsletter, just reply to it. The only thing I will say on that now, the way that the structures as the service providers, if you don't open the newsletters or the information that gets sent to you, and you haven't whitelisted, meaning whatever, if it's Yahoo or Gmail or whatever it is, if you haven't said, I actually like this stuff, don't make it disappear, don't bounce my email, it may get thrown to your spam. But more important, which people can't tell you recently how many people this has occurred, they don't realize it, but your service provider, so Gmail, Yahoo, the list is long, and there's a recent post I put up on the IV that tells you exactly how to do it. If you haven't said, this stuff I want, that other stuff for some reason keeps showing up, I don't really want that. But if you haven't, it's called whitelisting. If you haven't done that, unbeknownst to you, your service provider, again, any of the ones I've mentioned, but all of them, will bounce it, which means it tells it's not automated, but it means I don't have to go send every single one, right? I'm not spamming anyone.
Right.
It sends a message back. This is not deliverable because it's not wanted by the person who resides at this address. And so we're kicking it back, which means that if you think you're subscribed to the Living Life in HD and you haven't looked at the things, you're not, because you have been, you didn't, but your Gmail, Yahoo, whoever has sent an email back that says, they don't want this. Stop sending.
This is the same energetic I was suspecting it with YouTube, to be honest with you. The other day, I started thinking about, because, a lot of my subscribers over on Conscious Conversation Central were having the issue of not being notified when videos were uploaded or I was going live. And I started suspecting that, certain numbers were, folks that either didn't visit the channel, but then that didn't make sense because these were folks that do visit, folks like Jennifer and Fawn, that just always come when there's a live, so it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I feel the same energetic in what you're speaking here. And that makes a lot of sense,
So I get a notice of the bounces that these were in the bounce category, and I think it was 200 and something the other day, and they've been removed. And now I don't look at all the ones, but there's someone right on this TV screen who was at the last minute. It's already been done. It's Lisa that was in that, and I was like, oh, look at that. Wow. But it was already had been completed, and so this was like, this had happened, and just send me.
Well, I'm really glad that we brought this up, because I'll be honest with you, I did not know that, and B, I signed up, but see, because I usually, now there's been some time here recently where I, like I said, I actually and that's another reason why Lori Wheeler and I, you and I have to have a conversation, because she's doing some commenting in here that is kind of blowing me away a little bit, because there's been over the I started doing 7 months. Wait a minute, hold up, because for the last 7 months there's been a lot going on in my field too. I haven't been offline completely, but I've been offline, since the channel and all of that sort of thing. But so what I just wanted to say there, that wow, I don't know why that went over.
And I can't contact these people because it won't listen to the email, because it's thinking, because it's made that way, that you don't want to hear from it.
Right.
Right. Well, so I can't email you and say, hey, and some of the things it's not until after the fact, because I don't look through all of them. So on the Living Life in HD, fairly close, and now I could go and pin it for the next couple of days, but it's fairly close to the top on the blog section, which is the front page. There is a post that says, there's a little post-it note that says, hey, Beezy, how come I'm not getting the emails I think? And it just shows you, it lets you choose. You go to a link, you read, it's just 2 little short paragraphs, and you go to the thing and it says, so you can say, hey, I'm Yahoo. So you go to the Yahoo section on that and you read what you're supposed to do to train it, right? Or Gmail or MSM or whatever the different, there's a bazillion of them, and pretty much they're all covered in there, okay? But that's the thing. So it's not, and it's not giving me a choice, because I'm bringing down, let's look at it this way. So I'm sending something to Lisa. In theory, she signed up and she wanted it, right? But I think it's Yahoo, the one that was signed up. So Yahoo is sending and saying back to ConvertKit, which is my email service provider, which is all about creators, and that's why I use it, right? So Lisa's email is saying back to my service provider, this is not deliverable. She doesn't want this stuff. Stop sending it. And so they'll let a few more go through. And the same thing is happening, because now if there's a whitelisting, if you've said, hey, yeah, excuse me, don't decide for me, right? This is the fact checking and same kind of a thing. Don't decide for me. If you haven't done that, maybe you didn't know how, but regardless, it hasn't been done. Then Yahoo will keep sending back. And so now my service provider will take all those bounces and let them go. Because in the world, the game, the vernacular, the algorithm of non-spamming, which is a good thing, there's nothing wrong with that, but they're getting points deducted because, to 200 and some odd people, I was spamming the bejesus out of them, right? Except that they confirmed they wanted to be in there, but they didn't whitelist. And they may not have opened all the emails. So if you want something and you're getting it, even if you don't have time to read it that right moment, just click on it. Whitelist is absolutely the best thing. And then get to it whenever you can. Opening and engaging is always fun, because that's why, otherwise, why have it clutter your inbox? But people don't know that. So it is being chosen for you what you actually get served up to see in your box. And it's charming, right? And when all these people who are emailing me, I pay my service provider to send this out, so I'm in compliance with all the rules, and it's easy for people to do and all that kind of stuff. But it just cuts them off. So at a whack, 230 some odd people, they're gone. And then they send me a thing and saying, so you're nice and clear now. And I'm thinking, oh, thanks. So anyways,
I would just like to, especially because of the language that you chose to use just then, hands up anybody that saw the metaphor, because boy, oh boy, did I. For, even for out here in the 3D, everything that you just said, right? I sure as didn't know anything about whitelisting. And I've even had questions about why sometimes that come in my inbox and sometimes it go to my promotions box. What is this, and why do this happen? And the crap that I don't want never goes to spam, which
That's exactly right. And the vibrational level of the stuff. So if it's a higher vibrational level of stuff, the tension settings on the algorithms are set. It's too high a vibration. Whatever it is, whoever it's from, right? Can be varying, could be like a health thing or whatever, doesn't matter. There's a tension
forward, because
right? There's a
first of all, I've never heard of it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's been more prevalent, especially it's hard because, like I said, after I got the report, I looked, I said, well, just glancing, and I didn't read the whole, I just thought, oh, okay, what's this? Great. And just scanning within that 230 something, whatever it was, your email address like highlighted for me, Lisa. Wow. And I was like, oh, so that shows me there's many others who think, but I can't, yes, I can call you up, but most of the others I can't connect to them because I'm persona non grata by the decision of someone else, and the company that I use is honoring that, because they're not going to argue with you if you're purported to be saying, right? They don't want to piss you off. Neither do I.
So I would like to offer this, because this came in for me to share. Do a short video that lives either on Living Life in HD, helping folks know about the whitelisting. Right. So, but also as a notice to some who think they're subscribed but now are not, because you have no way of getting in touch with them. At least if they think they're subscribed, they're going to check out your YouTube channel and your site. Even if they don't hear anything from you, they're going to say, hey, why haven't I heard anything from BC? And they're going to go check and they'll see that. So I was kind of guided or nudged to share that with you.
I have the article which opposes to that, and that's a good idea. I'll do the little video, and I'll just put it in one of the squares at the top so you can see it. One thing I just want to add to that, it's very interesting about the frequency and the tension level, as in a string plucked, right? Everybody's seen, if they pay much attention or not, but people have summits. It's a way, so like someone's having a health summit or some sound vibration summit, and it's a way for people who are doing things in community to offer something that's free, it's of value, and all that kind of stuff. And then if people want more interest, want to play, they sign up for their newsletter and stuff. Well, a lot of them now these days, because this tension, and because the ones that I see about are higher vibration things, right? There's a new one on healing that was interesting, came through. But they're all now getting the hang of having to put this up with that, because the people who are magnetized to this are too high a vibration compared to, the stuff you don't want, which has no problem getting in your inbox. And so now that's part of the thing that they're putting out. It says, hey, sign up here if you'd like this, and it starts, and the videos, this is the time they're available, and you can buy this thing if you want to, but you can just see the thing for free, right? And by the way, if you sign up, you need to do this whitelist thing, because you're not going to get it.
See, now that you're saying that, I'm wondering if that might be, remember, but these were, I don't have a website, but remember how all of my contacts, or a good portion of them, disappeared? And that's happened to me more than once. Oh, hey, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is a good thing to, okay, thank you so much for this.
It's not just me. I mean, it's you could say industry wide.
No, I would say
email delivery thing. I mean, it's nice to have these services that, some are better than others, but you'd like to have more information. You don't want it. Sometimes you can go to a site and look, but sometimes you just want it to, like, you walk out, like you have the New Earth community porch, you sit on the porch and chat, you walk out to the mailbox, you pull down the metal drawer and you get in and you talk to the neighbors, and right. they're thwarting all of this unless it's, your typical sales flyers and stuff that don't have real connectivity. It's just, keep up with
Right.
the Joneses type sort of stuff.
Well, I'm
Anyway,
really grateful that you brought that forward on
it just
this
happened,
recording.
and since there's one person I can connect with and say that's the, yeah. So there may be many others where they think they are and they're not, and that's why.
Right. Wow. Well, BZ, I'm really very grateful that you came and had this conversation with us, and I'm really so excited for you and for well, all of us actually, because it's part of that energetic, that sweeping through. And I'm just really very excited for you and all of what's to come. I know that it's a bit nerve rattling too. And I want to tell everyone, make sure to go to BZ Rieger at YouTube. All of the connectivity to reach BZ will be in the show more section of this video. It will probably, I don't know the timing of it, whether if I go right after this and put it in there, I don't know if it shows up for replay or not when we're live. Sometimes it doesn't.
It's better if you wait.
Right. Oh, okay. So
just watching the way that YouTube, because if I've gone to go find something after, and it doesn't work when you've done whatever, there's a way you can click it now. It takes longer. It's like a 2-day delay or a 30-hour delay or something, because I don't know. But I just, from direct experience looking for something,
right.
There's a difference in how it works.
Okay, well, because this is live on my channel, the information of how to reach BZ will be in the show more section tomorrow. But you can, BZ will be putting this up on her channel tonight, I would imagine. Yes. And if you go to BZ Rieger, just search or at my channel. If you're here now, all you have to do is scroll to the bottom and you'll see where I have featured channels, and BZ's channel is featured there. Just click on it and you can find all the ways to get in touch with BZ on her channel. Because you do have that under your about tab on the channel, right? Yeah, I did too. Okay. I didn't know about that for the first little bit. YouTube was a whole brand new thing to me, but I know you
randomly click on any video there and you can, it'll tell you right the date and the produced on, and there'll be a link to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, thank you. And thank you, Lisa, for joining us. It was kind of cool having the Gal Pal posse back together again.
This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been a while. And so I look forward to lots more conversations with you, especially, as you're moving along, please keep me updated. And I really want to do one on each of your individuated things that you're offering on the channel so that folks can get a feel for what it is. And how we do, on here. And so maybe we could get together and do that sometime really soon.
That'd be fun. Yeah. Cause we've had a bazillion conversations, but we've never done like you have for other people. We've never done anything because
you couldn't.
It was because I couldn't.
That's right, because you couldn't, and now I
was under the bushel, and the bushel's been bonfired. So
that's right. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody this now, because again, now that there is this sense of freedom that I feel, I'm gonna, because I've never actually said this publicly, but I'm going to now, because when I can't even remember exactly when this happened, but it came in for me that you were the first one that I knew was going to be bringing in new modalities, and feeling that energy, knowing that you had something that you were going to be doing with the land and and it was going to be completely and totally new, and it's not fully developed, by the way. I know what you've been, doing and everything, but it's not fully here yet. It's still percolating in the, the soup of source as you're pulling it in. There are things, but I said that a while back, and I've never been able to share that with anyone because of that bushel basket that you've talked about, hiding that light of yours out there because of where you are. And now that you're released from that, I can say I'm so very pleased to see that, yes, actually there's a little bit of validation for me. You are bringing through, and there's much more to come from you. I know that too. So
I'm going to make a t-shirt. One of the things I will do is I have t-shirts that I make for myself and worn, with like I am the light, I am the love, all those kind of things that people have said. So I put them, but I just came to me as I burned my bushel basket in a bonfire. And so everybody is doing, where you, some kind of cute cartoon of the light shining, and because that's what we're all doing. For various degrees, some huge, some smaller, we've all been bushelified. We've been, a lot of it self-directed, and some because of outside constraints. But yeah, and so those bushel baskets are coming off. The myth of don't hide. You're hiding your light under a bushel basket. And we're all stopping that now, because when we do that, we take the bushel basket off, we can bonfire it, but now we're planting all those seeds, and we're harvesting, more to the point, because we will always plant seeds, but we've planted a whole lot, and now we're harvesting them. This is the time of the harvest.
I like that, actually, the way you put that. All right. Well, like I said, there will be ways to contact everyone who has appeared on this screen here tonight. I'm really grateful for everyone that showed up and participated in this conversation this evening. And Lori Wheeler, I know we've got to spend at least, I know you're really, really busy, but I'm going to share, because it will be out later. I want, because I'd love for you ladies to hear this. She's so sweet. She said, Sheila, secret to some of my downloads were you and I having interviews about different things. Of course, these interviews were only in my mind, but it helped the new info come in. And then she also said, I'm assuming you're giving me a kiss. Mwah, because that's the way I took that. And she said, pretty much what I did with you, Sheila, I connected with you in the ether to bring forth the new info. And
isn't that handy? You can have a conversation, interview, exploratory thing about it in the ether. You pull it down, you materialize it in. That's a pretty cool tool, right? For her and you, and then everyone to start to do that in various different ways. Yeah. How fun.
Yes. I've had many viewers that have said these things, and I don't doubt any of them. Mostly because I happen to live with someone who I'm sure doesn't mind me saying that, she has these sort of, Lisa actually is the first person I ever heard speak on having heart-centered conversations in the heart. I mean, really just having them, and the difference they make in the outward. Because you've spoken on that a lot, and I've taken that to heart, and I started practicing a lot of what Lisa was sharing with me about that, and holding the highest vision that I wish to experience, and more and greater, and knowing that that's coming, and just seeing the difference in just doing those things. And so we are all connected, and I don't doubt any of that at all, Lori, because everyone that's ever been drawn to me, this channel, my being drawn to BZ and Lisa, all of these things for me have very significant purpose and meaning. And there's reasons for everything that I've experienced so far, and I've had so much joy. She's like, we'll have a 4 hour convo. Yeah, you know me well, don't you, girl? Everybody do.
Well, the last thing I wanted to just share that kind of it's the reverse of, I can see here now it was a bombshell about, someone else is deciding what you get to read in your inbox, but it's true. Because I've looked at a report that says, yep, Lisa doesn't want to read your stuff. So with these other 200 some odd people, we threw them out. I was like, okay, thanks. Good on you. But the reverse of that is, and I've had a sense of this for a while, and I'm getting more and more direct experience of knowing. So on you have a channel and you can see a little ticker that says so many people are subscribed, or so many people have watched a video, or I've had things that says you have so many comments. I'm like, okay, where, right? Because I'm thinking, right? But now I've had people now writing and saying, oh, I loved when I watched that video you did X, maybe recently or a little while ago, right? And I felt so good to write this comment. And they're telling me all about this. Is this great story, which I'm involved in, but it's the first time that I've heard anything about it. So I go back and I look. So in the reverse of what's being done, there are many.
Wow.
And this is Source doing this. This is not a linear thing. And it's fascinating because more is coming right now in this. But what this is to have a focus, because there are I'm not just talking about you and me, Sheila, I'm talking about everyone in various things that they're doing, right? As they bring stuff to light, there is a very specific, bigger purpose to only having the channel owner's perception of the number of views they get, or the number of actively participating people, or it could be the total number count, right? It's a combination of those, because right timing and all that kind of stuff, so that are they still keeping forward? If they don't have the shiny prize, and some people just look at their numbers for subscriptions, right? So are you still out there giving voice? Are you still playing? You see what I'm saying, right? And so you think you only have, or according to what you see on the screen from YouTube as an example, that have watched or that have commented or whatever, there are many more who are watching and actively engaged with what you're giving voice to, what you're playing with on your channel. You're not seeing them, and to a large measure, maybe in various ways, the rest of the world is not seeing them. But they're there, and they are commenting, because people have been sending me emails. I guess now, because I'm doing this thing, right, this whole new journey, and they're saying, I've watched you for years, and comment and thinking, I may not pay absolute attention to everything, because I get busy sometimes, but I'm thinking, the energy feels familiar, but I've gone back. There is no comment. There is no this. They don't, in that, you can see your list of subscribers, right? They don't exist. But yet they've talked about, and this isn't just one, so this is more and more. And this is a feeling I've had for a long time about, keep doing what you're doing, keep playing with what you're playing, and part of the self-selecting sorting is the fact that you're not lit up by the numbers, right? You're lit up by the connection, because and those who again, because it's right timing, may be coming forth, and their numbers may grow in a way that is expansive for all involved. But something happens when your numbers go and your volume comes and all that kind of stuff. And so it plays out in that, let's say we're in stages of what's going on. So the unwinding and the changing and the new growing, right? Just use it as that way. And so everybody has different roles and different giving voice to, and different things they're moving through for themselves with a video channel. I'm just talking about right now. And so them the channel owner being able to acknowledge all that happening and seeing it, like, so they think that so many people are watching, or only so many people are watching, right? Wow, my numbers are really growing, or they're staying the same, or they're going to whatever it is, right? And how I, as a channel owner, meet that, and it affects or doesn't affect, it encourages or discourages, or I just do it because I know that connection. Is what I'm saying, that so that middle way, that third way, is you keep doing it, and all of a sudden you will see, as I'm getting emails now, there are more that have been there all along, and these are only the ones who think to write in because of whatever. So there's always more than anything. So that's a source driven thing, because the timing of that emergence, of the seed sprouting or whatever. I just felt nudged to say that as well. That's a very interesting, and now external to my own guidance and knowing, and what I watch and observe, people are writing in now and saying that.
I have a feeling, I have a feeling that your nudge is driven by someone specific that has that question in their field. Because like for me, for instance, for me as a channel owner, right? I've always been very clear that I mean, while, it's cool to see, like, I'm looking down here and I see I'm at 307 subscribers now, where, and I could be all, boo, I was at 2000. Now I got over to 2000 over on Conscious Conversation Central. Look what they done to me. I don't really care, because I've always been very clear that this channel is not for y'all. It ain't for the subscribers.
But it's for you,
It's
and
for me.
reflecting back, so that energetic play, because it's all about energy. Forget about
Yeah.
this,
No, I know. I'm
right?
just saying, I feel a little bit
So it's
differently about that
interesting,
one.
Well, I just think it's fascinating, because here these people are showing up and saying, yeah, this is
Yes, I think
forever.
that's
And
so
I'm thinking, cool.
that's even
I'm
that's
going to
even more
finally acknowledging
interesting.
you when you write in, and because I can actually see it now in the linear.
Right. Well, and I want to. This actually feels like a really great place for me to say, you do you have your comments set to just approve automatically? See, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any comments on my channel, and it got to the point where you, me, and Lisa were doing so many conversations in one week, and uh that I was missing comments, and I didn't want to do that. So I went on my channel and set comments to be held, all except for live. There's no holding live comments, but on all of my videos, and this is a good thing for everybody to just know, if you comment on my videos, you won't see it appear until I have read it and approved it. And there's a couple of reasons for that, not just because I want to make sure that I get to read every comment, because to me that's an interaction, but also there have been some pretty icky things that get left as comments on some of my videos, and I don't want y'all, that's not something y'all have to be exposed to. So I just
Well, the
delete.
energy vibration is not,
Right. Right.
it's your playground, and if you want to keep it
Exactly
high, you
correct.
should keep it
So
high. No, mine are set to look at first before they go up. But even when I look, they're not there.
I gotcha.
And so it's not, so they're,
Yeah, that makes it different.
it's like they're, but this is not a YouTube thing. This is a bigger, it's a higher vibration thing. And
Yeah.
and that, one of the reasons, it's another confirmation, that is because all of a sudden, in the last, so a little bit before the count up, whatever, the launch to Yahoo-ness started, so maybe this is day 5, so about 10 days ago, lots of emails. This isn't just one person or two or 10 or lots. And I'm thinking, I feel a little bad, like like I've been ignoring someone who's had a nice conversation going. And so I've let that go. But yeah, so it's not just one off here and there. It's been very interesting. It's a whole narrative, a whole
Well, maybe
story.
maybe that's a conversation we ought to get into in a separate one, because I'll be honest with you, this is making me see a few things in a different light, that have gone on, again, for me, but also all of a sudden I'm feeling, because this is the second time it came in. Is it possible that some of the comments, that this is a vibratory timeline collapse issue that you're experiencing? You know what I mean?
It could be, but these are so lovely. I don't care what timeline I've jumped or collapsed. I would never forget the vibrational frequency signature of it. There,
I
and I
see.
would love to have a conversation about this, because it's bigger. This goes to, and the part that I would really love to play with, because this goes to people having the courage, having the trust to step forward and do what they're dreaming about in however ways it shows up. It doesn't matter how it shows up or what they're thinking of. Step forward and do it, because there are so many times when you're doing something and you could be having a business. You could just be writing because you like to write, and just writing a newsletter, right? It's just the heart, right? You want to share, or whatever it is. It's all different things. But there are people that it's, even if you don't think it's getting out there or much is happening, or the one-offs, right? You a guest, or you write a comment or whatever. It's touching people in all sorts of ways that you have no idea. And so here you're thinking, well, everybody, I keep saying this, I've saying this for decades now, everyone has an essential role to play. Yes, in their own heart's desire, but in how they transmit that, whatever that is, right, out. And by not trusting yourself, and by not honoring yourself and being courageous and all those kinds of things, to be you, nothing else, right? To be you. To take the damn bushel off, right? To be you. All of those beings who had agreements, who had magnetization already in their field from this lifetime or others, and this was the appointed rendezvous time for all of this to happen. They can't rendezvous because you're over here being small, right? And once you start to do it, you read these things, and I mean, I'm pretty out there, right? But still, again, in the last, there's more and more of them where they're saying how I've changed something or lit up something or whatever it is. And it's so beautiful. I'm thinking, because it let them do something. They finally chose to do something, right? If that makes sense. I'm a message from them to them, and I'm now getting a glimpse in that window. And it's very cool to see that I said somewhere along the line, unbeknownst to me, yay, let's play. And it's been happening. And now they've had the courage to, because it's come in different forms from different ways, and I've talked to other people who've said this. So this is, again, this moment where all this rendezvousing of all of these things, but we can't meet it. Each individual, we can't meet it if we don't trust and be in the heart. So, there's well trotted out lines of, when you're in your heart and come from the heart, and it's magic. To say that's an understatement is not even close. What happens when you do that? It changes everything. It creates everything new. The magic, the spark, the connectivity, the creation, the solution energy, the problem solving, the fill in the blanks, ad nauseum in incredible ways happens. So if you don't like what's going on right now, if you're not liking this, or it's chaotic or perceived, or the this or whatever else the this is, you know, that now there's, you know, in the Middle Eastern, I'm sorry, in the Eastern European country, you know, I'm for, fill that in. You are the missing component of changing everything and expanding everything, which affects all the other yous who are doing or not doing the same thing. And what is that? Being in your high heart, which is the radiance of the true heart. It's your soul right here, already there, and it's the tangible, touchable aspect of source in you right there.
I love, James said, more and more each day and night we are stepping into ourselves. I do feel that for those of us that have chosen to embody that's a very, I feel that statement quite a bit. Lori Wheeler says, is BZ Leo? No, you might not have been here earlier on the channel. No, she's a Virgo. And you know, knowing what it is, or feeling into what it is, and then also having been privy to some of what you've been up to over the last year, I can see where what I said actually is coming to fruition for you in regards to bringing in new modalities that have to do with you know, you, the earth, and you know, and the client in a healing sort of like Trinity kind of sort of way. So, and because I think all of us are bringing in all kinds of really new and cool things that we are going to be, you know, just pulling forward. And so I'm really grateful that you came to share all that you're bringing forward, BZ, on stepping out on your new earth adventure. And I know we're going to be doing a lot more conversations about what it is exactly that you are offering and what it is you're getting up to. I want to point again to your channel, BZ Rieger, on YouTube, because you're doing those daily, you know, updates kind of thing for yourself and everyone else, which I just adore. And to say again too, to go over and subscribe and then whitelist.
Who knew, right? But at least it's a nice thing. At least it is a nice name. You're whitelisting, so you're white and all right.
I also want to say too, I want to share with everyone that I will more than likely be doing a live tomorrow morning. I am feeling to do a lot of recording over the last little bit here, so I will be doing a live tomorrow morning. And I also want to share too that I feel, you know, I love highlighting folks that are stepping out and even just feeling into, because it's helpful to me. If you're drawn to me for any reason to have a conscious conversation, because that's pretty much, you know, when after meeting BZ, when Lisa and I went over to Knoxville on the phone, and she was willing to come and have a conversation with me at first, and I experienced all the way. Now, I'm telling you, I told folks about that video on your channel being higher up in your channel. I've got to go over and pull that and link to it or something, because I don't have that one over here. And that's the I am very interested in speaking to anyone who feels drawn to me, and I feel drawn to, because this kind of thing is how that gets activated and started. I feel like Lori has said that her conversations with me, well, if she wasn't drawn to my channel, she wouldn't have had those conversations that have given her this download, right? And so if you're drawn for any reason, don't sit back and think that, oh, you know, that Sheila, believe me, if you and I are meant to be in a Zoom room, we will be. So you might as well just go ahead and, you know, hit me up, consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. Thank you both so much. This has been a long one, I know, but also the Gal Pal Posse hasn't been together all together in a room together in quite some time. So
Last
this
year.
is, yeah, I love you both so much. Until we
Thanks
all
for
meet
playing.
again, thanks so much. Mwah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.